Welcome to the Beau Show. As part of my interview series, I was able to speak to Préity Üpala. She's a former investment banker turned thought leader and media entrepreneur based in Hollywood, California. Préity is also advisor to many private technology companies, as well as a member of the Young Presidents Organization and various travel, technology, and innovation council. She works as a geopolitical expert. She's an award-winning international columnist and is the director of the Omnia Institute. She hosts a popular news show called The Préity Experience and is a much sought-after radio and TV commentator. Along with being an author, she's a political analyst, with her work appearing in more than 100 publications, including The Observer, The National Telegraph, Business Standard, Foreign Policy, Times of Israel, and The Times of India. She has spoken at various think tanks and has been a keynote speaker at global summits, such as WEF and the Center for Human Prosperity, among others. Ms. Üpala has received the Young Leader of the Decade Award at the Women's Economic Forum, as well as the Icon of the Year at the Promising Indians Foundation. As a certified Dharma ambassador, she has given lectures to thousands of students and corporate clients on the topics of Sanatana Dharma, feminism, soft power, and Indian philosophy. No stranger to adventure, Préity has visited over 100 countries and imbues her literary and journalistic work with international sensibilities. Her expertise is on foreign policy, U.S.-India relations, South Asian politics, counterterrorism, conflict resolution, and international diplomacy. She speaks 5 languages, and her literary work has been translated into several languages. She holds certifications in nuclear terrorism from Stanford University and counterterrorism from Georgetown University. Préity is an accomplished executive with 15 years of experience building, advising, and investing in businesses in Australia, Asia, and the United States. She currently serves on the board and head of corporate strategy at SkyZag Incorporated and Parallels and Meridians. As an author, her aim is to empower lives and see them through their difficulties, encouraging them to spread their wings and reach their highest potential, helping them discover themselves, that they may more clearly see the path which they are on to fulfill their greatest achievements. Préity and I had a lot to discuss, from how the pageant world has redefined femininity, to her intimate knowledge of sports, to how her culture has shaped her views and expertise. It's rare to find a person who can provide perspective or knowledge on such diverse topics, but she's just a very well-rounded, seasoned person. At a time when our own newest Supreme Court Justice could not define a woman, I thought it would be prudent to hear from a woman about what a woman is, what she's capable of, what hurdles she has to surmount, and how all that plays out into the personal and professional world. Here's Préity Üpala. Préity Üpala, thank you so much for joining me here on the Beau Show here in Las Vegas at Freedom Fest.
Namaste, Beau. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for inviting me.
Well, I'm really excited to hear your perspectives on a number of topics because you're a very diverse individual who has a very diverse history and experience with a lot of expertise in many areas. So let's start out with this, your Indian heritage. You've got a deep connection. You are a Dharma ambassador. I want to know what that is and tell me how your Indian roots have influenced you today.
Wow. What a wonderful question. What a great way to start this conversation. You know, growing up, I never really saw myself as, like, my Indian identity wasn't such a big part of who I was. I grew up in the Middle East. I was certainly an outsider. Then I lived in Europe and then eventually Australia and now America. But it's only when I moved to America that I really realized my identity, my roots, who I am. And my spirit, my soul, my spirituality, my philosophy in life is so Indian, and that has really shaped me to be the human being that I am. And I think it's played a huge part because, you know, regardless of how you see yourself, especially in this country, people see me, they see the Indianness in me, and it's actually a very positive thing. So you cannot run away from that. I think you have to fully embrace it. And it's helped me enormously.
And it's interesting that you kind of found your individuality as you came to America, which is great because America celebrates the individual, but it's also unfortunately celebrating a lot of groupthink too, and identity politics. So you bring a level of, you talked about your Indian spiritualism to Hollywood. I lived there for 5 years, and I found it to be a soulless place. How do you maintain that, and tell me how you've shaped that while you're in Hollywood?
Well, it's interesting. So on the one hand, although it's great to see that, you know, whether it's yoga, meditation, vegetarianism, Ayurveda, yoga nidra or kirtan, all these wonderful things are so fully embraced by the West, especially the hippie community in LA and Hollywood and all of that. The problem is, I think they've bastardized it. They've removed really, they've stripped it off its source and the originality, the authenticity, and it's become like yoga is just a fad now for people to look hot, rather than this spiritual tool that is used to connect mind, body, and spirit ultimately. So for me to see my culture being butchered like that, it's very worrisome. The problem is, you know, the Indians in, I guess, in LA and California, some of them are just very happy that the culture is being embraced. Some don't even know what's going on. And then there's a very small group that has a voice like myself who thinks that this is very dangerous. You must, you know, be respectful to source. And, you know, it's not a fad. It's not hip. It's not trendy or cool. This is a deep, ancient, probably 6,000-7,000 year old civilization we're talking about, and you have to respect it. And it's, you know, enormously beneficial. And the more you give to it, the more you get from it. So it's been interesting, but I agree with you. I think the Hollywood spirituality is really the wrong kind of spirituality. It's very empty. It's hollow. And they think that they're a better human being because they're vegan or they do yoga, and that's not what we're.
It's not connected in the true culture.
True.
Let's talk about what it means to be a woman, because you were Miss India International, and recently Miss Universe put out this crazy statement. I was a little surprised to see it, that said that not all people who menstruate are women. And it sent kind of shockwaves through the world. To some it was not a surprise. To me it was. They're redefining what a woman is, especially in the pageant world. Do you think it was right of them to do that? And what does a woman mean being to you?
Wow, that's a hot potato. I think beauty pageants should stay away from mixing this kind of politics. And I mean, we can talk about world peace, we can talk about what we need to do as a society to be better, and what these ladies can do when they are the ambassador, you know, if they do win. I think that's what people want to really know. But then when you infuse this sort of politics, and this is very subjective, you know, it's one person's truth will not be the other person's truth, and there's a lot of disagreement, right? Incongruence, I think. So I would advise any of these organizations stay away from divisive politics.
But they don't, is the thing, because I know when judges were writing questions, I'm thinking about this. Imagine if you're now going to compete in Miss Universe, you are Miss India, or Miss, let's say Miss USA, and the question, and you've seen what they've written on social media, and you're in the top 5.
Yeah.
And I say, Préity, here's my question to you. What does it mean to be a woman? Doesn't that put you now in a box as to what you can say?
Yes, you have to be very careful, because also this, you know, this lady is also, she needs to think about her career. What her answer is going to be, her response is going to elicit a response from the judges and the audience, and they're going to judge her. They're going to say, oh, she's really liberal, progressive, is a kind of ambassador we need, or they'll think, oh, she's too conservative. Is this really the sort of person that we want representing our brand, and so on and so forth? It's all very subjective, right? So it's a dangerous path that they're going on, and the girls, they have to do what they have to do. If they're asked a question, they have to answer it, right? Or else you're going to just lose points. And yeah, now the girls have to think about these issues that maybe they're not really that passionate about, but they need an answer ready to go. I think it's very dangerous.
A politically correct answer as well, which to me takes the individuality out of it, because you can't answer how you really want to answer it, and you'll be penalized for it. Well, you've made a great brand of your name, the Préity Experience. And while you highlight global thought leaders, do you think being pretty in today's world or the concept is advantageous, or do you think the concept of attractiveness has morphed into something else?
Well, the Préity can be either pretty, like my name Préity, or pretty, the word, the adjective. It's a double-edged sword, to be honest, and this applies for men and women. I think on the one hand, you have an audience. People will see you, people will listen to you. The human human eye is attracted to symmetry, to beauty. They just think that you are a better human being because you look good, right? So you have that advantage where I think you can you can garner an audience. I really think for people who want a serious platform, if you happen to look good, you have a big advantage in that because people are already there. They had you had them at hello, so to speak. So that's good. But then on the flip side, they may be so sort of entranced by your physical beauty that they are not looking deeper.
That's what I'm wondering. Did you ever feel discounted by your looks?
Yes, and also the kind of industries that I've been in, investment banking to media to geopolitics, and now the sports aspect as well. All of these are heavily male dominated, and I was always, you know, the only woman there. I'm lucky I had good mentors and good colleagues, but I think in my case particularly, when they first see me, you know, they're attracted and they have some certain perception of me. The minute I start opening my mouth, you know, and say something, I think very quickly it becomes very clear who I am and where I come from. And I have to say I'm very pleased that they have learned to respect me and say, oh wow, she has opinions, she's smart, she doesn't budge, she can hold her own with us, she can debate, and you know, she's very feminine. She doesn't want to be like us.
Right.
And I think they appreciate that.
Well, that's good because you can disarm them almost immediately based on their preconceived notion. Well, let's talk about sports because you're a sports enthusiast, especially Indian cricket.
Yes.
And to the extent that you're a commentator for the sport, do you think female commentators in sport are treated equally or fairly in the sports world?
Firstly, female sports writers, female commentators are so far and few in between. I mean, honestly, I can probably count on my hand globally how many female cricket commentators there are, and this is the second largest sport in the world, second most popular and lucrative.
Wow.
3 billion people are obsessed with cricket globally, and you have maybe, I know 2 women who do it sort of professionally, and so yeah, they get the hard end of the stick. Not only are there so few women, it's, I mean, you'll be on a panel with 5 dudes. These guys always will, you know, and you know, being on a political panel with 5 men is one thing. Being on a sports panel with all that testosterone, and come on, we're talking.
Do you get more respect or less in the sports world?
I wish I could say more because it's such a novelty. And I think in soccer maybe it's a little better, I don't know. But in cricket, no. And I think it's up to the woman herself to create a brand for herself, to speak out, to step up and do something. And she doesn't have a group of women there with her. There's no union. So I think you're on your own here. You do what you can. They should be more supported and respected because I think it's a unique voice.
It is a unique voice.
Women play cricket too. The game is growing. But I think, well, I do a lot of sports analysis, and I've been on shows where it's 5 dudes and it's me. And in the beginning, they didn't know what to say, but I made sure I was heard, and I put those people in their place, man. Now they're scared of me, you know.
Yeah.